Yep, we are on. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being on Christmas Magazine. Um, I listened to the album first, I believe, and it's so great, so fresh and old together.
Mm.
But I want to start from the beginning. What inspired you back in 2019 to start Wings of Steel?
First, thank you for having me. It's great to be on with you. So way back when I moved out to Los Angeles from Sweden, where I'm originally from, um, I always wanted to. I had this vision of starting a hard rock heavy metal band, right? And so when I went to study music in college, that was kind of the main reason I was going there. Sure, it's cool to learn stuff around music and I did pick up some good things from there, but really I was there to find a band and that's where I came across Parker, which of course is the person I started the band with. Um, so came there with that in mind, and we started jamming, and I guess the rest is history, right?
What were your main influences, vocally and musically?
Um, my vocal inspirations has changed a lot throughout my life. I think some of the bigger ones have been David Coverdale. It's been Paul Rogers, Ron and James Dio. It's another one. Really a lot of actually because like I sing kind of high in a lot of stuff, but I listen to a lot of like David Coverdale's a lower voice. Paul Rogers sings more bluesy. He can sing higher, and then Dio has somewhat of a lower voice too, but can also really get up there. But those have been some of the big inspirations, like growing up and doing this stuff.
I found out listening to Weird Eyes song that it was like the sound was like Crimson Glory, and your voice was like Midnight's. Too similar.
Yeah, it's I've heard that one a lot actually. It's funny. Crimson Glory is one of those bands that Um, although I was raised on music by my dad and my mom, and they had great taste in music, a lot of blues, a lot of hard rock. I was never introduced to Crimson Glory, um, and it wasn't until we put out our debut EP back in 2022, I started reading the comments on YouTube, and they're like, "Oh, this guy sounds exactly like Midnight from Crimson Glory," and it like first I just like, okay, that's interesting, and then after the thousandth time I heard it, I was like, well, I got to check these guys out. And I checked it out, and they do kick ass. So I take it as a big compliment.
Yes, it is. It is. How do you describe the band sound to someone who's never heard of Wings of Steel?
I think you said it pretty good when we first started this. It's modern, but it certainly has that old school kind of feel to it. And I think a lot of the shared influences that me and Parker have, they're all kind of rooted in the early '80s and even the '70s. So with a bigger production, we're able to really conjure up that larger than life kind of sound that you recognize from back in the old school by around the '80s. But I would say it's a big sound. It's modern, but it's got that vintage feel to it. That's really hard to describe. It's warm and it's very inviting. So I do invite you over to take a listen if you haven't heard it.
Um, can you tell us about the creative process for the new album? Where did you start? From music, from lyrics, from riffs?
It actually differs quite a lot. I don't think we have a set way of writing. Sometimes we'll have a riff and we'll start there. Sometimes it will be just a melody. It could be a vocal melody that turns into guitar. Um, Sometimes I'll already know what lyrics I want to put on something going into it, and sometimes we will. Most of the times we'll finish out the instrumental piece, and then after that, once you listen to it, it almost kind of gives you a landscape to like put the words on top of, and then you'll put whatever makes sense to you on top of that. So I don't think there's one way that we write music, but typically, if I had to say like a common denominator that tends to happen is that we write the instrumental piece first, and then after that come the lyrics and the vocals.
How do you prepare your voice for live shows and touring? Are there any vocal or musical directions that you would like to explore more in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I think as not only do I sing a lot and play a lot of music, but I listen to music all the time. Like it's always playing in my head, and even when there's silence, I still hear music. So, um, there are plenty of things that I want to incorporate into the Wings of Steel sound, and I feel like with this new album that we've recorded and we're putting out later this October, I feel like we've taken the next step where everything you'll hear as a fan is very similar. It's still very much what we do, but we do take bits and pieces of stuff that influences us and kind of put it under our umbrella, but still make it flow like it's the Wings of Steel you've come to like.
Do you prefer small clubs or big festivals, and why?
Real quick, I don't think I answered your question when it came to like warming up before
Yeah,
shows.
yeah. What do you do? Because you have a
So
very high range with your voice.
yeah, so normally, I'm not the guy who does a lot of like vocal scales backstage and stuff like that. I think the best way to warm up your voice, and this is me, everyone has their own thing, but I like to just sing through some songs. I don't pick the most challenging one straight off the bat. I just sing something that's very comfortable and that comes from the right place. That speaks to my heart and my soul, and I deliver that because that's really what singing and vocalizing is all about. So couple of those songs, and then maybe as the last one or two songs, I'll do something that's like a little higher, just to test out, putting a little bit more effort and force into it. So um, that's usually how I do it. And then uh, you said, do I like smaller or bigger shows? Is that what you said?
Yes.
It's really hard to say. I mean, there's of course if there's a place where there's 25,000 people, I mean that would be absolutely amazing. No one can deny that. But I think therein lies the answer too. It's about the people who attend the show. Unless it's some really really shitty venue that's just horrible to be in because the ceiling is so low you have to crouch down or something. It's about the people and the atmosphere of the place. So playing a place that's 300 people or 1,000 people can be better than playing a place that has 10,000, depending on how good the atmosphere is and how engaging the audience is.
Which song of the new album was more challenging to record?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like it was a pretty fluid um, process this time around. I don't think we necessarily struggled with a lot. Um, when we first got together, because we record all the music out in Thousand Oaks in the U.S. So when I went out there, me and Parker, we had 10 weeks to record this album. Because I'm not a United States citizen, I can only go there as a tourist, and it gives me approximately 10 weeks. So that's the time frame we had for the album, just like the last album as well. The very first one we wrote when I got out there, um, we actually kind of just put that one on the shelf. It's a really cool song, and I would love to share it with people, but we feel like it's not quite done. So the first one we did was kind of like warming up to it, I think, getting into the songwriting together again. And then the second one we did was the first single we put out, which is Winds of Time, which is our longest piece to date. So I think that really set the stage for the writing throughout the entire album. It was a very fluid process.
What drives you to create and why you chose music?
Um, Again, I was born and raised in a household with a lot of music. Initially, I wanted to be a guitar player, and I started playing the guitar. My dad got me my first guitar, and I was really enjoying that. But then, as I got a little older, I started being really fascinated by the vocals, and I would listen to bands again like early Whitesnake and like this more 70s kind of hard rock.
Mhm.
I was like, wow, these guys can really like growl and stuff. So I would try, like, I sing pretty clean. I'm a pretty clean singer, but in my early days, I would just grit it all the way out. And it wasn't perfect by any means. Like, I'm not proud listening back to it now, but it was experimental, and it's really what got me fired up because I felt like when I was using my voice, it was more like primal, and I was more like in touch with how strong the musical sense was. So from that point on, I just kind of decided to focus on vocals and try to become more comfortable with it and expand my range and stuff.
Where do you see the band in 10 years? What are your hopes and dreams?
Hopes and dreams. I mean, the it's pretty simple actually. It's really just about writing the music that you love and getting out in front of as many people as possible and touching as many hearts and souls of people as you possibly can. It's music is about sharing, right? It's not about me. It's not about any one person in the band. It's not even about the band per se. It's about sharing and it's about unity. So hopefully, 10 years from now, we're able to share the Wings of Steel experience and invite people into joining it in stadiums, preferably as big as possible. But also those gigs that have just like 1,000 or like a couple of hundred can be really cool too.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Hmm.
I hope to see you again in Greece
Oh
uh,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and
yeah,
real soon.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was when we played Up the Hammers in March of this year. It
Yes,
was really amazing. It was a remarkable experience, and we really can't wait to come back to Greece again.
we hope to see you soon again. Thank you again for your time.
Absolutely. Before it picks back up, thank you so much for
Bye.
having me.
Bye.